Hey friends, welcome back to a new Power BI video. Today I'd like to give you a way on how to create a timetable in Power BI. Now most of the time we probably want to create any kind of date filtering and slice and dice our KPIs, our data across date dimensions, like what are the sales for a specific weekday, or what are the sales for this year or for the current month, and maybe some kind of time intelligence DAX calculations in order to compare dates and our sales for specific dates. Like I have here my dates table, and if I remove the day maybe for now, I only have here the year, quarter, and month. And now I could say, okay, I calculate some kind of KPI. For instance, my measure in here, I could use one of them. I can take a look at my total profit as an example. I can visualize that. And then I would see my total profit for a month, in this case quarter and year combination. Now this is fine, and of course then I can create time intelligence, for instance with the same period last year function, or with date add function, or any other kind of time intelligence function in DAX, which I want to leverage in order to create then my time comparison. So to compare sales from this year to the previous year, or the previous quarter, or maybe just a running total. Everything can be done using calculate, for instance, and other kind of DAX functions. Now this is fine as long as you only want to do this by date. And here I'm using, just to mention that, if I go to my data view here, I have used my custom dates table, which uses a Power Query function, and it's created in Power Query. So this is available and creates a lot of columns, which allows me then to slice and dice my data, my KPIs, based on all these columns if I want. So it's quite extensive, but it's exactly the same, which I also use in my Udemy course. So you guys might have this all as well. Now, going back to my original question. So this allows me now to slice and dice my data based on, in this case, any kind of date dimension. However, sometimes we want to do something like that on a time dimension. Maybe I'm not only interested on the sales for a specific day, but maybe I'd like to know the sales or any other kind of KPI for a specific hour, or the evaluation, or actually the development during the day. How can I achieve this? Because this would require that I have a timetable as well. Now, some of you might have maybe done something which I would strongly discourage from doing, is to import a table which has a date and a time dimension in the same column. This is not efficient, and this actually blows up your model, so the whole model size, and also makes your model slower. So as a best practice tip I can give you here, never have a combined column of date and time. What you want instead is you want next to your dates table a separate table, which is the timetable. And now the goal of this video is to show you a way on how to create this timetable in DAX. So you can import the timetable if you have it from any kind of flat file, so CSV file, a text file, Excel file if you want, or a database table you might have, but you can also create it directly here in Power BI. And that's what I'm gonna show you how. So what we need to do for this is, of course, we need to create a table. So you could go to modeling, and then you can click here on new table. So make sure you don't click new column and also not new measure, because it is a table. Now to save some time, I already did this, and the table I come up with is, let me show this to you. If I go to data here and to my timetable, is this one here. So that's the formula here, and maybe let me make this smaller for now. We just take a look in a second, but this is what it gives us. It gives us one column for the hour, one for the minute, one for the second, and then the time itself. Starting here, right? Just need to format this correctly, because actually you don't want to see this 1899. It's just a time, so you would format it as a time specific value in here, right? Where is it? A short time or long time? I mean, depending on what you want to format it. Probably long time would be better, so let's go with long time here. Exactly, and then we get the time. So here it's 0 hour, and there is then it's 1 minute, and so on, right? So this is how that works. So the idea behind this timetable, let me go back, is this one here. So we use variables, and whenever we define variables, we also need to have a return keyword here. So just let me show how this is constructed, okay? So at first, the first table here is the hour table in this case. So the hour table is simply a select columns based on the generate series. Now, if you're familiar with parameters, so what if parameters in Power BI, you know that generate series is the default function which is applied in order to simply create a series between two numbers. So generate series from 0 to 23 would simply create a table named value, which starts at 0 and ends at 23. And the select columns function is used because the generate series function itself always has the name value. So you can't change the column name. But when we wrap it in the select columns function here, we actually convert it or have the option to name the value here to the column name set hour. So if I go to our table here, our table, if I return this one and I execute this, then you'll see that we got one column, simply numbers from 0 to 23, and with the name hour. And that's why this is wrapped in selected columns. Now the same is done for minutes table as well as the seconds table. The minutes is from 0 to 59 and the seconds table as well. So if we take a look at it, just say minute table, and then I can run this, and you would see that we only get again one column in here, which is 0 to, if I scroll down, 59. So it's a bit small, but hopefully you can see that on your screens. Now finally, the seconds table is exactly the same, but the idea now is to bring those together. The point is that, of course, we need to make sure that the hour, minute, and second is actually combined in a way that for each hour, we need all the minutes, and for each minute, we need all the seconds. So we just can't say, I want to have this one plus this one plus this one, because we need to have actually a so-called cross-join, which means that, as I said before, we want for each hour, in the 60 times repeating the minute, and for each minute, 60 times repeating the second. So we blow up our table basically to have really each combination of those. And this is what we can achieve by using cross-join. So we cross-join here, this is a DAX function, and it allows us now to combine those so that each combination from these three tables, so each number combination is actually accounted for and put together. And then we simply add an additional column to this table here, which we name time. And this is simply a time based on the hour, minute, and second. And the names here are, of course, based on these names we have here. So if you name these differently, then you would also refer to different names here, because these are the column names for those when we create the time column. And if we do it this way, then we can, I call it together here just, but you can name this timetable, whatever you want. And then we run this, and you see that if you do this, you get the three columns, and then the additional column time, which is referring to this here, which then gives you here the numbers here starting and goes down for all the different combinations, as you can see here. And just to say that in total, you can see it's 86,400, which is exactly the amount of seconds each day has. So also a checkpoint here, just by the way. You can, of course, calculate this yourself if you want. And yeah, that's it. That's how to create a timetable in Power BI. And as I said, it's really best practice to have a separate timetable, which you can then link to your model in order to figure out any kind of time-specific KPI development if you want, or do any other kind of things. But try to avoid to combine the date table with a timetable together, because it blows up the model, and normally it's not best practice to do that. Okay, so that's it for this trick. Hopefully that was helpful. Feel free to try out this formula yourself if you need it. And as always, if you'd like to see more, please give the video a thumbs up. Also click on the bell icon if you want to get notified when I upload a new video. And please, please, please do me the favor and subscribe to the channel, because of this of you, and if this channel grows, then I'm encouraged, of course, to create much more videos for you, which help hopefully you become even better data analyst as you currently are. So that's it. Thanks a lot. Stay healthy and see you in the next video. Until then, best guys.